Alright class, we're going to do things a little differently today. We're going to give each of you guys an opportunity to be in the spotlight today. If you've never been in the spotlight, today's your chance. So the first thing I want to have you do, I'm going to have you come up one at a time in front of the class, and I'm going to have you tell us one of your future goals. So Mr. Moody, if we could have you come forward first in front of the group, and as you come forward, I've got my spotlight here. We're going to put that right in your eyes just like you're on the stage. And so if you could tell us a future goal.
One of my future goals is to have $1 million.
Great. All right. Mr. Carroll?
One of my future goals is to be a teacher.
Perfect. All right. That was round one. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to come up, we're going to stand in the spotlight, and we're going to each say one of our positive self-attributes. So for me, I could stand up and say, I'm the coolest teacher in school, maybe, or kids like me, or something along those lines. So again, a positive self-attribute. So Mr. Moody, if you could take your turn, step into the spotlight.
I'm told I am a good listener.
All right, that's a good one. And Mr. Carroll, a positive self-attribute.
I'm a good friend.
Nice, very good one, very important. All right, so the reason that I had you guys do this is we want to teach you guys how to engage in positive self-talk. What you need to understand is that people who are mentally healthy are able to do this sort of thing. They're able to identify their strengths and their weaknesses. And so that's the plan for today. We want to teach you guys ways that you can boost your self-esteem through positive self-talk, but we also want to teach you guys ways that you might eliminate any negative thinking that you may have. So that's our goal for today. So let's start out this way. I'd like you guys to help me brainstorm. What are some ways that 16-year-olds like you might boost self-esteem? Some healthy things that you might do. What do you think? By raising your hand too, if we please. Mr. Carroll?
Buying new clothes. Nice clothes that everyone likes.
Okay, we'll say nice dress. Mr. Moody?
Dating popular people.
Okay. Sure. We'll just say relationships. Anything else you guys can think of? Mr. Carroll?
Eating at the cool kid table.
Eating, well, you know, I think that might fall under relationships, and we could even add on here social life. It's good to have friends, a social network. Anything else that 16-year-olds might do? Mr. Carroll?
Doing good in sports.
Okay, sure. Sports. And I'm going to actually add to that, Mr. Carroll, sports or clubs. Or any groups that you might be in. These are all very healthy things for 16-year-olds, teenagers to boost self-esteem. What are some other ones? How about keeping fit? That may fall under the category of nice dress and maybe appearance. We could add another one in.
Getting a six-pack.
Again, something that would fall under appearance probably. Okay. So those are all good things. These are all things that help us boost our self-esteem, which in turn is going to help us maintain good mental health. Now, that's the positive side of the coin. Let's talk about the negative side of the coin. Mental unhealth, in other words. Okay. Now, people who are mentally unhealthy, people who have a hard time in this area, a lot of the times will develop addictions. So I'll give you the most obvious one, which is substances. Okay, which of course includes alcohol, tobacco, drugs. What are some other things that not only 16-year-olds would become addicted to, but also adults? Some popular addictions. Yes, Mr. Carroll?
This could be an addiction, but there's some people that lie a lot to try to be cool. Maybe bending the truth. They become obsessed with being dishonest.
Okay, that's perfect. You're playing right into the goal of my lesson here. Lying, others. Yes, Mr. Moody.
They could be addicted to being lazy. There's just, once you become lazy, I think it's easier to stay lazy, and maybe you're on welfare for the rest of your life. You don't feel like doing anything because it becomes a habit.
Perfect, exactly. An addiction, laziness, a type of a lifestyle, all unhealthy things. Perfect ideas for our health class. How about relationships? Unhealthy relationships, perhaps? I think that's a big one that affects not only 16-year-olds, but adults as well. I'll go ahead and pen that one in. Anything else? Addictions besides substance abuse? Mr. Carroll, thank you for raising your hand. Yep.
You could get addicted to like blending in with the crowd, the safety net of not like being an outlier.
Okay.
So you just kind of blend in with everyone else,
Yeah. And
do whatever they're doing, kind of be a follower.
Right. And this one is ironic because it's over here in the positive column, but it can actually fall into the negative column as well. So our social relationships are unique in that they can make us or break us. But I'm going to tie that one in with relationships and social life. So how about another big one? Maybe you've seen some older folks, adults with a shopping addiction, spending money, right? Don't tell me if you know anybody like that, but think it in your head. It's a popular one. Uncle likes to buy new cars, maybe, feels good, sells it within 6 months. So all of these things are addictions. Now, even though these are some of the most common addictions that you see amongst teenagers and adults, there's one not on the list yet that I'm going to teach you guys, and this one is called codependency. Okay, now what codependency means, this is simply an addiction to your inability to cope effectively. Okay, so people who are codependent are going to have a hard time building self-esteem. So I'll write that on there. Unhealthy coping. Okay? So while we in our heads may think, I'm a good friend or I'm a good listener, somebody who is codependent may think listening is not important or listening is not a good thing. I don't need to listen to anybody. I've got it all figured out. Okay? It's almost as if people who are codependent have a tape recorder or a CD playing inside their head that's playing negative messages constantly. So let me give you guys an example of a young man who's codependent. Okay? If you follow along on our sheet, starting at the top left bubble, this young man says, I would be better off continuing to behave the way that I am than attempting to deal with the dysfunction in my family. Mr. Carroll, can you read the bubble right below that one?
I am safer if I keep my feelings to myself.
Is that true, or?
No, because then it builds up, and then you might take it out negatively on others, or it might become a bigger problem than it originally was if you don't handle it right away.
Sure. What do you think, Mr. Moody?
I think it depends on where you're at, where you live, what's going down in your house. So it just depends on who you're living with and what the situation is. Maybe you say too much and you get hit upside the head. So it might be easier just not to say anything sometimes.
Right. It's another one of those unique categories like your social relationships, which can be a positive thing or a negative thing, right? So that one just kind of depends. All right. Mr. Moody, if you could read the bubble below that one, please.
I cannot trust others.
Any thoughts on that one?
We have a rule in our family that says trust and verify. So if you can't verify it, you don't trust it.
Sure, sure, I agree. Okay, the one below it, I do not deserve to be treated with respect. You know, does that reflect positive self-esteem? Is that negative thinking? Might that be codependent? I would think so. Going to the next column, I am better off being dishonest because if I told others the truth, they might not like me. Negative thought, right? This young man also says, in the bubble below, I am more comfortable being serious than playful and having fun. Now how about that one? Let's talk about this one a little. Is that okay? Is it okay to prefer to be serious rather than having fun? Yeah, Mr. Carroll.
At times, it can be better, but as a child, if you're serious all the time, then other kids might not like you very much, because kids like to be playful, and it helps build friendships and bonds and stuff like that.
It can be a defense mechanism, right? For better or for worse, sure. Mr. Moody.
Yeah, it might keep people away, stop, nobody hassles you, just the message is keep to yourself, so just stay away from me.
Yeah. But wouldn't you guys agree that we, in order to be completely healthy, need a social group? So we've got to be careful with this one. To some degree, we have to let others in, right? Okay, so that's another one where there's a little bit of gray area, perhaps. Okay, let's go to that bottom one. I should get others to believe that everything in my life is fine. What do you think? Should we act tough? Should we walk around with a stiff upper lip all the time? Any thoughts on that one? Or is it important to talk to others about how we feel if we're feeling a little lousy or depressed? What do you, okay. Yes, Mr. Moody, you're up.
Yeah, everybody has issues, everybody has troubles. I don't know, some of them might not be anybody else's business.
That's true. I think the thing to point out here is that a person who is codependent tends to only be on the negative side of things with their thoughts. Well, there may be some gray area on some of these. The codependent person always shies to this end of the deal, okay? Whereas the mentally healthy person tends to stay on this side. Okay, I mentioned earlier that the codependent individual, it's almost as if they have a condition where there's a CD player playing inside their head, and it's just constantly playing negative messages. Well, to be a mentally healthy person, what we need to understand we have to do is we need to delete from our CD those tracks that are producing unhealthy thoughts. So maybe I can't trust others. Something is wrong, but I shouldn't tell anybody. If those are the titles of the songs on my CD, I need to delete them and replace them with positive thoughts. I have a strong group of friends that's willing to help me, etc., etc. So that's the idea. We want to delete negative tracks and put in positive tracks. So, to give you guys an example of how this works, you guys are going to make a CD today. I have an example here of my CD, which reflects positive thinking, and it's got a Titan T in the middle because I'm a Titan teacher, and then I have 3 tracks on there on my hit album. Okay, the first one is my biggest hit, Family Man, because I have a family that I enjoy and I like to spend time with them. The second track, Hard Work, because I believe I'm a hard worker. And then the final track is entitled To Teach Is to Live, because I like my job. Okay, so I can play this CD in my mind, and it's going to help me to keep my self-esteem up and to stay mentally healthy. So, I'm going to let you guys create your own CD, and what I want is, the requirements are, if you could create 3 tracks to your CD with positive thinking on it that reflects the way you think. Write those onto your CD, and also I want you to list the name of your band on there. Maybe it's your name. On my example, it was Mr. Paz. And also, if you could, include one piece of art into the design of your album. Go ahead and just take a few minutes to put that together, and we'll see what we come up with.